Dayton, Dennis, and Trawler enter the new profile mansion home. The three males are all hyped up for they had just graduated from high school. Dennis pops open a 40 and takes a swig of his beer, while Trawler plays video games on his newly forbidden enabled PlayStation 4 console, in which he was playing various fighting games and Mortal Kombat, etc. Dayton decides to cook in the kitchen while Trawler is playing video games. Dennis plants the beer bottle on the kitchen counter, turns the faucet on, and drinks some water from the kitchen faucet. He spits it out and turns the faucet water off. The water faucet drowns a little bit when Dennis leaves. However, Dennis notices the droning of the faucet and taps and bangs on the water faucet. The droning stops. Back in the kitchen, Dayton had just turned on the oven connected to the counter. He removes the counter from the oven and separates the oven from the counter. I'm aware that a rolling pin on top of the cabinets was about to break free and roll to the center of the area, which will break some needles into the fire below. Back in the room, Trawler plants his video game controller on a pile of clothing next to him. Dennis walks outside, opens the car door, grabs his lighter and cigarettes, lights the cigarette, and slams the car door behind him, taking the lighter with him. However, when Dennis came in the house, Dennis put the lighter next to the stove in which was gas ignited. However, the lighter was not on. Charlie walked into the kitchen and watched as Dennis smoked a cigarette. Dennis smoked it, blew it in his face, and Charlie decided to smoke a cigarette and blow it in his face, and they both swatted the smoke away from each other. Dan walked into the kitchen, walked past them, and grabbed the spatula from the area in which they were about to have. All three were about to have their first bachelorette party that evening, signaling that they graduated from high school and graduated from college, etc. However, death was making a move, and they didn't realize it, and it always seems to be too good to be true. Charlie smokes his cigarette and takes a puff in and blows it out, this time away from Dennis. Dennis with his hand on the counter, takes a puff in and blows it out, this time away from Trawler. Dayton did not notice the roller on top of the cabinet, in which had just broke free from the wind, irresistible wind that surrounded the mansion. Dayton noticed this and then closed the window next to him. Trawler notices the window, and Dennis closes that window. Dennis walks down the hallway, camera in back of him, and notices a similar scene he had not seen before. The room was dimly lit, connecting a sign to one of the earlier victims. Signs of the film studio were around the mansion. Trawler, I noticed signs of various transactions in which they had purchased beforehand were noticed throughout the mansion. Death by caffeine was noticed by Dennis on the wall in his bedroom, while the picture frame, which had pinpointed his own fate, was sitting on the portrait. Dennis raised his eyebrow. Trawler puffed his cigarette, unaware that the irresistible force had somehow smashed the mop into the air gas exchange system, which caused the gas on the oven to turn on. He took a puff and blowed it out. However, instead of the gas igniting at that time, Trawler had already threw it in the sink, disposing the fire of the water. Trawler went around to see Dayton, and Dayton, as Dayton decided to exit, his coat gets caught in the oven, between the oven and the oven door. He panics and says, "Whoa." And just realized that his coat has been stuck between the coat and his pants buckle, connected to his buckle loop. He yelps maliciously for help, and Trawler runs into the kitchen. He helps Dennis take off his jacket. Dennis in the background knows his eyebrows still raising. He stares at the picture. Notices a sign in a picture of him with Trawler and Dayton in the background, all noticing flames of fire in the background behind them, incinerating around them. Dennis runs out of the bedroom, runs into the kitchen, in which Trawler had already broke Dayton free. However, when Dayton gets broken free, the mop somehow takes advantage of the three males in this whole entire situation. The mop forcefully bangs the lighter on the stove, causing the ignite the gasoline within the gas oven, syntonically blowing the whole entire mansion, killing all three of them instantly. And before the title credits roll, the whole mansion explodes. The car explodes, and the car tire ring enters into the screen.